He's 18, so we're just trying to give him a hands off.
Real life.
Yeah, figure it out. She just left. Okay,
We'll start with.
we can start without her. I can, do I want to do like a roll call?
You might need to.
I might actually just pass
Pass a piece of paper around.
a piece of paper around asking for them all.
Okay. All righty, folks. For everybody in the room, we're gonna get started. Welcome to the Land Use and Planning meeting on June 10th. We're gonna start, with just, we'll wait till our other member gets here.
On her way.
She's on her way, but, so we're gonna just start with, Cinta is going to ask everybody to please fill out your,
Yeah, actually, I'm just gonna have you pass this around, if you guys have a pen, if not, I could grab you one, and just put your name down, so I'm not sitting here going, trying to guess.
Yep, so full name, please, and that way we can have that for our minutes.
No.
So yeah, anyhow, while we're waiting for Patty, we will move on in our agenda. We'll review the minutes after the fact. And I do see a lot of faces here for reviewing the Pride Park resolution, and the map. So one thing that I do want to do is just be really clear on what this resolution's intent is, as well as what provisions are being put in place. So this particular resolution, if you're not aware, was something that we've been working on for a while, specifically to address people getting permitted use and using the entirety or exclusive use of the park. It's something that we did not want to have. So instead, we wanted to provide specific provisions, make sure that if someone was getting permitted use, that one, it would not be an exclusive use, so anyone can come and still utilize that park while there is somebody there, while also limiting the amount of space that they are allowed to have in that area whenever there is a permitted use. So really limiting the amount of space that they can consume and making sure that that park is still friendly and functional and accessible for our guests, our neighbors, our locals, you name it. That is the specific intent of this. One thing I will do is share my screen and kind of discuss what we have put in there and put in place for these provisions. So hold tight while I do a little bit of technology stuff.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
do you mind me clarifying? I understand secondhand that there's been some discussion that the intent or a purpose or a side benefit of this resolution or a side effect of this resolution was that it was going to be stopping protests, and it has absolutely no impact at all on any First Amendment or anything else.
No.
So
Yeah,
so the Papa band can still show up, and protesters can still show up, and
yeah.
I just know there was a lot of discussion on that, so.
Yep, and again, I hadn't heard much in the way of discussion on that, but our intent is not to eliminate people coming and using that space for, again, whether that's political protests or any sort of protests, again, enjoying live music on Saturdays, coming in and having a picnic. That is by no means our intention. So, again, part of the reason I do just want to show our intention very clearly of what this resolution is, and what those specific provisions are. So, give me 1 second, and I don't know why it keeps downsizing this, it's driving me crazy. Okay,
All right.
so we're just gonna do,
Are you pulling up the resolution or the map?
I'm gonna do both.
Okay, good job.
Okay. So specifically, and again, I'm putting it up on the screen so that way everybody can see it. There it is. I will zoom in, don't worry, I know it's very small.
That's why I sit next to her computer.
So again, part of this was our whereas is recognizing the fact that Ordinance 960 sets rules and regulations for city-owned property and permitted uses. So this is essentially tagging on to that current ordinance. Pride Park is a special community asset to the city residents, as well as travelers alike, and provides a great location, atmosphere to sit, eat, relax when in downtown. Again, City of Red Lodge wants to maintain the public use facilities for our downtown visitors to be able to rest and enjoy the space. The city recognizes the need for public spaces. Did I just get disconnected, or?
There's a possibility. We've been having some internet
Well,
issues, although it looks like it's still up.
yeah, it's not scrolling, so, but,
Just like a leg.
lovely,
Here.
technology, I still have it here, so
Okay.
we're okay, but mostly for their benefit. So yeah, we still sees the need, we recognize the need for public spaces during our busier events. Yeah, I got booted,
Yeah, you got booted.
Mm.
so,
We're still here.
lovely.
If you're redoing, just do not the.
Yep, so I'll just read this out loud, and again, if anyone needs these copies, they are in our current packet, as well as available from the city clerks. So, I'll just read it out loud, and hopefully we can all follow along, and then I'll try and get back connected to where we can all see the map. So again, recognizing the need for those public spaces during busier seasons and downtown events. And then we'd also like to allow for the permitted use of Pride Park while preserving the public space for those downtown visitors. So those are our whereases, these are intentions for moving forward. And then these are the provisions that we have in place specifically to help preserve that space for everybody. So in addition to all the rules, provisions, restrictions in Ordinance 960, the following provisions must be followed by permitted users. There will be no exclusive use in Pride Park, so again, everyone will have access to it. Permitted use will be restricted to a space designated by the city. There is a site map that we have drawn up that shows that space. It is very small. Once I can actually get connected, I will show you that map. And I'll see if I can actually do that right now, because I think that will really help clear that up. Hold tight, as technology tends to fail. It's just loading. Yeah. Okay, so, here we go. Audio, we're gonna say no audio, and join. You're gonna probably have to make me a host again. Sorry, folks.
So the main purpose, we picked 2 locations specifically. We actually took a little field trip up to Pride Park just to actually get a visual on what we thought was, I feel like there was a little bit of a miscommunication when we were trying to establish boundaries for exclusive use. So we felt it was probably in everyone's best interest that we all walked up there and personally saw it. Our main concern is that this is the only green space in downtown Red Lodge. It is utilized every day by anyone, shopping, locals, anything. And we don't want someone to exclusively take up the entire area to eliminate any seating or shade. But at the same time, we don't want people to feel like it's completely off limits. This seems to be the best compromise for everybody. Okay, she's got it pulled up.
Yep. So again, a little tough to see because technology loves to technology. Lord Almighty. I will, it's up,
Chelsea, can
oh,
pass
you
this
have a
around?
physical copy.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I do have one.
Yeah.
And I have
Perfect.
it-
That would be
I have one
great.
pulled up too, right here.
So while this focuses,
You did, okay.
I don't know why it's trying to do all this crazy zooms, but, there we go. Yeah, so there's 2 proposed spaces. You get the choice of one or the other. There is a section there on the paver concrete space that would still permit people to pass through. I don't know why it's doing this now. Oh,
Just trying to catch up.
Yeah, it takes a hot minute
I'm
to
not
catch
touching
up. Don't keep pushing it, yeah. And there is Patty sent a copy around for
Yeah.
those to get a visual of it also.
So yeah, this essentially protects the seating areas. It protects the garden areas. It essentially allows for you to set up a table. That is really all that space can allow. So whether that is a nonprofit who has pamphlets that they want to hand out and information, whether that's a local artisan selling trinkets or, necklaces, their crafts, whether that's another local business running a discount, which has been probably one of our biggest concerns. We wanted to eliminate that sprawl to where they're not taking the whole space and they're limited to a very finite area. After discussion, we also, you know what, I'm not even gonna try. After the discussion as well, they wanted to open up a little bit larger space in the middle of the park next to the other pavers, again, off of any sort of the planters, anything along those lines.
Anything on the?
Very limited, but again, it's essentially about a 10-foot by 10-foot section. So again, this doesn't allow for people to have boats and hangers and things propped up or anything in the planters. This is to make it where it's very limited. So I'm gonna pull back up on my end and just continue to read some of these additional provisions, because it's not the only thing we're limiting on that. Zoom back. So no applicants may restrict or block any use of the benches, picnic tables, or right-of-way. So again, anyone can be able to walk through, anybody can sit down and enjoy themselves. Permitted users will only be eligible for use of the park 1 day per month. So again, you're not gonna have somebody set up there all summer long. And it's only for one of the designated locations within Pride Park. So again, they get to choose one or the other. Pride Park will not be available for permitted use during any event taking place on the section of Broadway adjacent to the park. So if we have the 4th of July parade, we will have that blocked off. If we have the Christmas stroll, that will be blocked off. If we have the car show, that will be blocked off. So again, making sure that when we are in our busiest times, there is more available space for people to come and enjoy our downtown. The additional restrictions will not apply to parties with active MOUs with the city pertaining to Pride Park or inhibit the parties' ability to use the park as agreed upon per the MOU. So for the garden party, they can come in, do their projects, do their fundraisers, any of those pieces as they choose, the same way that they have done in years past. City staff is responsible for relaying these provisions to any applicants and ensuring that these rules are followed. And the city staff will also be responsible for blocking that availability of Pride Park during Broadway events that are taking place on the adjacent section of Broadway. So that is what our resolution is in place for. I hope that kind of clears things up, but would love to hear any comments, questions, concerns.
I have a question. I really appreciate all the work you've done on this. It's been a lot of work for you, and it sounds good. But I guess I have a question that, I'm probably late to the party with this, but, the city of Red Lodge wants to allow commercial use of this space. Why? Why is that? Why?
So, the big reason that we have that is, one, that's something that's allowed through any of our city parks and public spaces.
Okay.
The other reason is we don't want to eliminate somebody just because they're making a profit. Just, I mean, if there's a nonprofit coming in and advocating for their cause, using the same amount of space, providing very similar activities, we don't see any reason to disallow somebody from selling their custom crafts or whatever they might be selling, as long as it's appropriate.
Are you taking public comment now?
Yeah.
For the record, I'm Betsy Scanlon, as you know. Thank you for serving. You are my neighbors and my servants, and I appreciate that very much. You know, I am one of many that contributed to buy this lot from Ralph Thomas in the 80s to make it Pride Park. And it was intended to be a park. And it has served well as the park. And we have a nonprofit that not only maintains it, but also improves it. We do that, and we have done that up until just very recently without a lot of city help. Recently, it's been a great partnership, and I appreciate that. But this is a park, and I want to get to that. It's a public space, and I know that all parks are public space. This is very unique in that it's downtown. It's the only green spot downtown. It's a refuge from the busyness, from the sidewalks, from the commercial. And yes, indeed, Traditionally, nonprofits have used it fairly frequently, and that's not been in controversy. I think what's brought this up is when a neighboring business started to put their, sales items in the park, and suddenly, oh, this should be a commercial spot. We should make this okay for commercial. It's never been a commercial spot. It, wasn't intended to be. It's too small for multiple use. You get any kind of tables there, and that's gonna interfere. One of these sites is indeed on our sitting, picnic bench.
There's one picnic.
That's a picnic bench. That's a public place to sit. And that is gonna be a prime place for anybody that wants to have a usable space. This one barely fits if you wanna get around the raised flower bed. Neither site, there's not a site on this small 50-foot lot that's gonna accommodate any kind of retail sale. So I just wanted, it's too small. It was not intended for a shopping mall. It was, once vendors know it's available, it's gonna be used regularly. And in a space that people are used to sitting and eating a sandwich, drinking a cup of coffee, having a vendor right next to you, with your knees next to their table, I think is inappropriate, and it's not what this park was meant for. I do think that we need to recognize the uniqueness of this park. And even though other parks in the city, which are bigger and function well for events, and for larger groups, that's fine. And we can make a profit. If this is all about the city making some money, well, this is not the place to do it. There are other parks where they could do that. I think you understand just how strongly I feel about this. Years ago, the other well-intended idea was to put public bathrooms in that 50-foot lot by 100. And that would have eaten up the last part. We have a public bathroom a block away. We have public bathrooms in every restaurant that wants customers coming in. We have a public bathroom we paid a good amount of money for at the beginning of town. You can direct people to those public bathrooms. We did not need a bathroom at the Pride Park, and it would have used up seating area, would have been a visual impact. And I contend that having vendors in there would use it up, would be a visual impact, would be a public impact, and there is no site, even by 10 by 10, including the site that you have there over our picnic bench, which was meant for the public to see it, not to accommodate a vendor. So for those impassioned reasons, I ask that you recommend to the whole council, and I thank you that are here to hear this too. And I've communicated this, of course, to our mayor, Dave. I appreciate his concerns about this, but I would ask you to not take this any further, to recommend disapproval of this resolution and do not pass it. And I appreciate that you hear. I'm also a member of the Garden Club, and I will tell you that I maintain one of those with the help of many others in our club. And for us to maintain it so someone could make a profit is really an insult to me. I did not do that so someone could make a profit on their old trinkets, their old pottery, whatever it is. They have other places they can do that. Not Pride Park. Keep it nice and free for all of us. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I think, so right now, without this, if this resolution is just completely dropped, then it means there's no guardrails or restrictions on it. It's just like all the others. I think what I hear you saying is modify this resolution that just says Pride Park's not on the list of parks that can be reserved. And so it would be a modified, am I
No,
understanding
I
that correctly?
disagree with you, respectfully,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I think it deserves a resolution saying Pride Park will not be used for commercial uses.
And I think you guys are saying.
That's literally what I
Not that
just
it
said.
opens it up.
Well, again, if we
Open it up.
don't do this, and we don't have a follow-up resolution, then it would be open for exclusive use
Okay, thank you.
for our
Tell me
current ordinance.
Whatever it
So,
would take
again,
to squash this.
yep.
I'm not saying if you don't do this, I understand that you're saying that it opens up for use, any use? No.
No, as of right now, it is open for
As
use.
of the way the current
As
reading
of,
is.
in accordance to 960, It can be reserved for exclusive use. So this is us trying to limit that currently. So what you are
Is
at,
there one for Lions Park? They can only use certain parts of Lions Park?
again, we don't have a similar one for Lions Park, but as of right now, you
We
can
don't
have
have
exclusive use of Lions
The
Park.
entire Lions Park.
Correct.
So, I will go back to the original thing, that I think there's a better way to deal with this, that recognizes that there should be no retail
Right.
use
And again, what
in
Pride
Park.
Betsy, all
Whatever
respect,
it takes.
what I'm just trying to do is clarify what we're saying is we can, what you're asking us to do is to create a different resolution disallowing any use besides park space use.
If that's your
That-
only
that's-
way to resolve it.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I just wanna be sure we're
Then that's up to you.
very clear. So,
I don't agree that every park in this town is available for exclusive use at any time for $100. That is wrong. And it should be, the whole thing should be looked at.
yep, so theoretically it's wrong, but actually how it's written is that you can do that. That's what
Okay.
that's what I am trying to explain.
All
So,
right.
that's all I'm doing, but thank you.
Take
And-
out that 10 by 10 that's over the picnic table. That's a public place that interferes with public use.
Okay,
Is that
that's fine.
fine?
Right here?
And this one is going to be a table in front of all these people that are watching traffic go by with their coffee. They're gonna have to look at people
Okay.
selling their goodies.
I-
You know, it's inappropriate.
Okay,
So,
okay.
whatever resolution you can do to accomplish what I feel is the mission of this little park, this unique little park, I thank you for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other further comments, questions, or concerns on this subject? Kim?
So I'm Kim Hayman. My husband and I own Babcock and Miles. We've been full-time residents of Red Lodge for 20 years. My husband's been coming here his entire 63 years of his life. It's our town. And, makes me emotional, sorry, but I own the business next door. And I agree with Betsy, it's a respite. I mean, watching the folks that pull up, that use that park, that eat lunch, business owners, whoever, I know what it causes because we've had concerns of why anybody could do a yard sale in the park. And so I guess I just would like to say a couple of things are really hard for local businesses anyway. For us to make it in this town 12 months a year, and we have food trucks and we have vendors, and I know this isn't this committee's issue, but I would like the city to reconsider how any food truck can roll into town, be here for 12 months and pay us $200. And my business, I employ 35 to 50 people. We pay our taxes, we pay resort taxes, and we're here. We're not going anywhere. And so I just think on the horizon as a city, we need to deal with welcoming people to take the money out of the pockets of the local business owners. I know it's tricky, but anyway, I just would implore you to consider leaving that as an open space. But I get what you're saying, that there's a bigger policy because it's a city park, but I would really hope that we would keep it where it can be used as a respite and not for commercial purposes as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Both of you have mentioned specifically commercial. So if somebody wanted to rent that park for a memorial service or something, but it's not a commercial, is it still, because that competes against the respite.
Right. I
But
think,
so is commercial the demarc, or is it just, no, keep it as a respite, don't allow?
I think it's a slippery slope, because then for you guys, whoever this person is, and that's kind of what I had on my list, is how much does it cost? Who's managing it? Who approves it? Who says you, but not you? So I think the tricky part of that is, am I opposed to a family reserving it? No. Am I opposed to a nonprofit? But who's the decision maker that's gonna decide? I think it's okay, but Rod doesn't. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the tricky.
And that,
And
just to
welcome to our
kind of
conversation.
follow up
Yeah.
on that as well, we've had a lot of those conversations.
Lots of those conversations.
And a big part of that is, you know, depending on the nonprofit, it might be something that morally offends someone.
Right.
It might be someone who's coming off a little too aggressive with their fundraising. But at the same time, you know, same with the commercial space. Again, I don't like to differentiate between those two.
I do.
I can tell.
I think it's a big difference, commercial versus public. And nonprofits are basically a public purpose, okay? And I would like to respond to that too.
But
Limit the hours. If you're determined to do this, to allow, you know, vendors to be in Pride Park, limit the hours.
I'm just saying, what I'm gonna say is, if we make that limitation for commercial, whether it's getting rid of them entirely, the argument can be made that no one else can be able to use this either except for
You
Red
can
Six.
make that argument. I
Yep.
will not agree with it.
Okay, and I think that's
I think
where, you know,
nonprofits
disagreements
have a
happen.
purpose.
Disagreements happen. And end of the day, is your opinion is your opinion,
That's correct.
my opinion is mine, and everyone has their own.
I appreciate
But,
that.
so, the way that we
The
could,
difference is you make money on a commercial and a nonprofit does not.
actually, no, they're both permitted, and they both have to pay the amount, and we really don't make money off the whole system.
No, I'm talking about the user, the
Oh.
vendor, makes money,
Well, you're saying a nonprofit doing fundraising isn't putting that towards their cause?
public cost. Nonprofit, and this is lost in this town because there are 64 nonprofits, and there's half the businesses in town are nonprofits. But nonprofits are there for a public purpose, charitable, educational, whatever it might be. Whereas retail, commercial, is a distinct difference because it's for profit for the person, for the owner of the business.
And for their
not the public.
employees?
And we get $100 for them using our public place.
And nonprofits get charged that same amount,
Fine.
and but I would love
Talking
to,
about the net-
we'll do this, because we are in a limited time frame. I would love to continue this conversation with you after this meeting, and we'll leave it up for the rest of the rest of the public to make a comment.
I apologize.
No, it's good. Again, I would love to have the discussion. I intended to respond to your email this morning. It's just been a very busy
I
weekend,
understand there's
So,
different perspectives.
so we will chat after that. So,
And I would add that this is on the agenda tonight, and so we will take public comment
correct,
tonight. That'll be a 3-minute form, because
yeah.
I'm meaner than Chelsea.
So, any other public comments, questions, or concerns? Again, any other questions as well that are beyond this, I can answer after the fact, but yes.
My name is Susan Wadsworth, and I moved to Red Lodge 38 years ago. I did own a business at that time. I'm retired now. My main concern was, and I heard it addressed, but I just wanted to get very clear on it, that expressive activity does not require a permit.
Correct.
No.
Yep. So in ordinance 960, freedom of speech, expressive, it's all protected in that space. So, yep, you are good to go on that.
Can you explain what that is, expressive activity?
I'll actually pull up the exact ordinance and read it out loud for you guys, if that works best.
Yeah.
Yep, we don't wanna, again, really wanna just be very crystal clear and don't want any misinformation going out. So, we're gonna do 960, hold tight.
So as she's pulling it up, what the ordinance is, so the $100 is mostly just an administrative cost to take an application and review it and say, yep, it meets the rules. But the ordinance says is, you can, what is required to get a permit to use a park? So are you required to get a permit to go down there and have a barbecue? No, but somebody else may beat you there, right? So it's a first come, first serve. If you want to specifically reserve the gazebo at Lions Park because you're having a wedding or something there, then you call up and you reserve it. So there's certain things that require it. Exclusive use is one of them, meaning I'm gonna be there and other people won't be. Commercial is something that automatically triggers it. But in that ordinance, it very specifically says the following activities do not require to sign up and use. And basically, any First Amendment speech, is protected. That doesn't.
I have it here specifically. These are, these are just the definitions, but for expressive use, conduct that is protected by the United States and the Montana Constitutions. This includes activity in which the sole or principal object of which is the expression, dissemination, or communication by verbal, visual, literary, auditory means of opinions, views, or ideas, and for which no fee or donation is charged or required as a condition of participation in attendance and of such, or at such activity, Expressive activity does not include commercial events, sports events, fundraising events, or events the principal purpose of which is entertainment. Also, picketing is protected. A person or group of workers who protest outside a building to prevent other workers from going inside. Again, not as much for the park. And then protest, a statement or action expressing disapproval or objective of something. So again, permits are required for an event that is requesting exclusive use of city property. And again, this is for the full, all city public spaces. And any event that involves assembling or traveling in unison at any city property, so races, things along those lines. Any event involving 75 or more people of the city, using city property regardless whether or not they are requesting exclusive use. Any event on city property that involves the sale, giveaway, or distribution of alcoholic beverages. Any physical alterations to a property, sale of goods or services, and or solicitation as set forth in subsection 8. Again, I highly recommend just reading through it at some point. Any event that requires temporary waivers of city ordinances prohibiting consumption of alcoholic beverages, and the use of any sidewalks along Broadway Avenue and other than by the adjacent property owner. Exemptions are funeral processions, lawful picketing on sidewalks, activities conducted by governmental agencies acting within the scope of their authority, features within the city parks, gazebos, picnic tables, horseshoe pits, basketball courts are first come, first serve. Exclusive use requires submission of an application for permit. Organized activities by user groups using the recreational facilities, spontaneous events involving solely expressive activities, which are occasionally by news or affairs. So again, that goes back into your expressive activities, that is exempt. There are some restrictions for expressive activity. The event shall be conducted on property that is not occupied by another event. If practicable, the spokesperson or leaders of the event should give notice at least 6 hours prior, the date, or 6 hours prior of date and time of the event. Again, most of this, I feel like we had something very specific on protesting and First Amendment rights.
I think that's the part you just did up front.
Yep.
Is anything defined by the Constitution.
Yep, so that is protected. So, again, those are still protected, and that is currently in 960, yes.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Lyman. I just have a question. Is there any way to make Pride Park sort of set an exception to the rest of all
Yes,
the public
and-
parks?
Yep.
And just make it a respite park?
Yep.
Where people are just available?
And that's absolutely something we could do per resolution. So essentially what that would be is very similar to what we have in place, but instead of saying that, you know, there's limited use, it would just be, there is no permitted use.
Not for nonprofit or for-profit,
Yeah.
right? Okay, except for the
Those
MOU
are two
with the
different
garden.
flavors, right? And that was kind of the question Mike, I was saying earlier, make it so it's not available for use. And then is it not available for sign-up use or just not available for commercial use? That was part of what I was trying to understand.
Not
what the
available for
sentiment was.
anything but sitting down and having lunch and getting off.
Yeah. So that is absolutely an option. Again, if we don't pass this, and that is the intention of what we would like to do, we would have to come up with another resolution to get that put in place. But in the meantime, if someone wanted to permit use for it, they would be able to apply to do so.
So as far as the timeline, you would recommend approving this resolution first and then working on the new one, or?
So essentially, it would be, we'd have to, either we could say no to this and start a new one, and then it would likely take a couple weeks to actually get that through council and voted on and written up, all of those pieces. There is the option that we pass this one and then work on potentially limiting it in the future if we see that this is not resolving the issue. And then, because we do have folks that already have permits and applications in for this summer, specifically, it is nonprofits.
Is there an option of just amending this one though too? Because this is on the agenda. and
We
it's
could
there.
amend it to
It
just
could be
say,
amended, just say no.
No,
We could.
there you go. That's a good one.
So that is an option.
And we will think it's important to know that we are, the nonprofit that has the MOU
Right.
with,
Yep.
for the various reasons that benefit both of us.
Mhm.
And so we would presume that we would continue to be able to use it for our use.
And that would be
And we-
something that
yeah.
we would absolutely keep in this place,
Yeah.
because we 100%.
Not in this, this is out.
Yeah.
But the MOU does lend itself to that, and that has been the practice. So I think eliminating this entirely, not temporarily, but entirely, and then working on a respite resolution, I think would be our sentiment.
And does everyone in the room feel that way?
Well, wouldn't it be quicker to amend it?
We could absolutely amend it.
And wouldn't it be the same result, but then it would be used only for respite?
It would be used only for respite, but it wouldn't be necessarily it'd be the same result as if we were to rewrite it and do it in a few weeks.
Yeah, so do that.
Just be-
That being said, I do feel like it's worth other opinions being heard as well.
Sure.
So,
Again, it is up for action this evening, at the city council meeting.
okay, so if that is all of our conversation on that, again, I would be happy to have further discussions, clear up any other questions in terms of how the space is utilized, how this whole ordinance works on a large scale picture, whatever you guys would like. Again, we are happy to answer those questions, but we do need to move on because we only have about 10 minutes left of this meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your listening.
I look forward to seeing you tonight,
Yes.
6 o'clock. Bring your own popcorn.
Bring your popcorn.
We can't do it.
An extra for me.
The only time public speaking is before the council meeting,
No,
No,
before,
there's
after, and at
several-
the time.
Yeah, there's
You'll have-
several
There's
opportunities.
a few.
so we
Yep.
don't need to be here at 6 to 9.
No.
And I don't think we have to be here till 9 anyhow.
I know, I've been there. Many years. Yeah.
Okay, so as we have folks leaving, we're gonna move on to City Land Exchange Brewery Hill discussion and see how much traction we can make on that subject.
Number 3.
All right, oh, I printed off, let me go grab some.
Yeah, we're Brewery Hill.
So this is discussion only tonight, not action.
Well, I'm glad I left this agenda really open when I first sent it out.
I filled it up. Word. All right, Brewery Hill. Just added, inflamed everything. My whole
So
back.
apologies while we're waiting for,
I'll join the meeting and share. I had printed the map. It's in the packet, I guess. This is discussion only. There's a lot at the top of Brewery Hill that the city owns. It used to be part of the airport before the road moved. It's technically still part of the airport. But there is a postage stamp in the middle of it that is owned by a private individual. And so what we did is a resolution of intent to do a land swap, and then there are several conditions that have to be met. I'm seeing if I have the triangle here.
Yeah. You can pull up a map. Oh, do you have a map?
It's purple, and the one that I'm thinking of, well, yours is black and white. I can,
Do you have the land evaluation for both those pieces, please? Could you put that up there too?
I can,
What, as an
Now my thoughts.
appraiser,
so this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is this little postage stamp inside of all the city land, and this is a little triangle that has cinders and stuff on it.
So, 2 years ago, when Courtney killed, our neighborhood got an email, and the land swap between O'Neill and the city was actually that green triangle for a trail to run behind our house, all of our neighborhoods.
Okay?
And so what we're here about is, it looks like that's not the land swap any longer. This is not about putting a trail in.
That is correct. We're pursuing a trail on Brewery Hill separately.
Okay, so no one, we never heard back from the city when we wrote letters and everything,
Okay?
saying, hey, we got this letter from our neighbor that he's in the process of this land swap. So we were all like, wait a minute, this is on the agenda? They're back on the trail? So
So,
this is completely separate, but it is between O'Neill and the city.
it is, but what, the short version is, we understand that you want that land. That land down the face of the hill is not of interest to the city. This piece is of interest to the city, and we'd love to swap.
We did not want that down the side, so this is
No,
great.
yeah.
I'm just saving you guys a whole lot of time.
Okay.
'Cause we're all just kind of taken aback by, wait, this is still going through?
No.
When 2 years ago, we were told it
So-
was dead.
So this is a resolution of intent for, we're giving him the triangle at the top that has the cinders. We want his piece of land, but
You're not giving, you're
we're trading.
Yeah.
We're
considering trading.
No, this is the action, so the intent was several months ago. So this is the action tonight is that we are going, well, not tonight,
Not
in
tonight,
2 weeks,
discussion.
to continue with the land swap, but it is not down the hill for a trail. It is the little triangle at the top where the cinders are.
Okay.
And the short version was, that didn't necessarily fit the city's needs.
Right.
Correct. Yep,
This does fit the city's needs, because now we have a big piece of property that no longer has a donut hole in the middle of it.
yep, makes sense. It was before, it was like, hey, I want
Yeah.
that flat acre up on the bench, and you guys can have this unbuildable strip that goes down, and not just in my neighborhood, but as a resident of Red Lodge, I'm like, where is that?
Could you show that map?
Equitable.
Oh,
Okay.
I can't pull it
So
up.
it might be
Still not
up here.
clear where that was.
let me,
All the way up.
Pull it
so,
up.
so here is, here's
Not very
Brewery
clear,
Hill, okay? So this is the old road, this is the new road, it comes out here.
Oh, God, okay.
So, in this
Is that okay?
in this piece of land right here,
Yeah.
there's a little private piece in the middle.
Yep.
Over here, where there's a
now
little
you-
triangle, where there's cinders stacked on the road.
Right.
So he wants that piece of land, that was the initiation that he came in and said, hey, I will give you this, or I will give you this if you will give me that.
Right.
And when I came in, that conversation came up, and I said, I don't see where that does the city any good. That's not a fair swap, that's buildable, non-buildable.
Yep.
We'd rather have a trail here than here, so we just didn't pursue that conversation. But it said, but if you want that, we get it, let's trade you for this piece over here. So we traded him this piece for us to get this. So if this is the land swap,
So we don't have
Not-
to see his, face on the side of his,
Trailer?
trailer anymore?
I mean, you might see it on his other
he
company
might,
property,
well,
on that spot.
yeah, he can park his he can park his trailer on his property, so we don't have a rule against that.
Right, right.
But it does not involve any land
Okay.
swap on the hill
No.
or trails or anything there.
Perfect.
That's what the Brewery Hill Trail is trying to address.
Oh,
Yeah, so yeah, just a little section, so then this city-owned
There we
land can become more whole, and then potentially become usable for whether that's workforce housing or,
Is it-
other city facilities.
Size-wise comparable?
It's an acre versus 0.52 acres, but if you look at the acre down here,
Mhm.
you can see that the whole acre is not buildable because it's got utilities underneath it. So
Yeah.
it's an acre of land that you can't build on.
Dead land.
For a half an acre of land, you can build on.
And again, how land swaps work is things do have to appraise to where the city comes out of benefits. So it's not like he's gonna be financially gaining in that regard, as well as it has to be of equal or lesser value towards the other one.
We don't care, we.
Well, actually,
If you don't want that.
The rules are just the city has to win. It doesn't
Yeah,
speak for
city
what
has to
he
win.
has to do.
Oh, sorry, Patty.
It's just
Oh,
like
that's
that.
okay.
He was not
That's okay.
winning,
Thank
and he
you.
was also selling off just enough that everything, people coming down that trail dumped into our houses instead of going another 40 feet and coming out by his house, which felt like he was getting a win-win-win, and
Okay.
that was.
I'm
So I'm glad that
Unfortunately,
you came in and said, what are
Yeah.
we gaining by
I'm
this?
happy to report that what you're talking about is not what's happening.
Yep.
That's what we all wanted to
That
know.
is not the case.
Okay.
Sold up there.
That little piece, so this is going in front of the planning board to revisit. Right now, this is park all the way around it with one little piece of commercial in the middle, which also makes no sense.
And
Not worth the
here's
shingle.
the top that he's getting in the light green, that's what he's getting?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what he's gonna get.
What is that from?
Oh, no, the trailer continues.
I think it's not commercial.
It's on guard.
The only thing that's commercial up there is the purple square. But that's all
Mine is
subject to
blue.
change too.
Mine's blue.
Well, I think it'd be helpful to know
Mine
what
blue.
the zone does, so that we know what he could use it for, because we know he's going to use it for real estate.
So, he owns the adjacent property to that. He would essentially be able to absorb that into his property. He would not be able to build on it.
No.
It would just add to his current lot, and then he would have the ability to landscape it and make it a more attractive entrance for his current home.
And in fairness, he could park his truck
make a
10
condition,
feet on the other side of the
make
fence.
a condition that he don't park his truck at all.
Yeah, I think it's very
I think that's how it works.
important to know what that zone does, so what.
In my other turn.
Well, and the zoning is going to change,
Oh,
so.
it's not, it should be changed before he gets it, because
Yeah.
we should know that. We should know that, because you're swapping something that's commercial, right?
Well, we're getting the commercial.
You're giving the commercial.
No,
We're getting.
we are getting the commercial and trading it for whatever that is, and I'd have to look, I'm not gonna.
I'm looking
not
it up
gonna
right
get
now.
deep,
We're getting it.
So,
Oh, thank goodness.
I think that's considered part of the airport right now. So it's considered P1 land over there right now.
Which we know he's not gonna use it for something like that. I mean, because he wants, my impression before was, his thing was, I don't wanna look at their gravel, because I want a nice entrance into my place. So I don't think we have to worry
No,
about.
no, I think he's gonna landscape and make it pretty, because it's his view shed.
Yeah, exactly, I agree.
Okay.
Well,
No, and I remember the conversation
it's not what.
prior of that, and it was kind of like, why would we?
Yeah, that's
Right.
Well, and it was kind of like, what would we benefit from
All
by
right,
taking
I
that?
agree.
We are where we need to
Okay.
work toward progressing this.
Yeah.
Are we good? And this is actually up for action in 2 weeks, not tonight, so you can come back in 2 weeks again also, or reach out and, this is all in the packet too, so you can go see it,
Okay.
but your biggest worry is, no, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, because it seems really inequitable, like the city was, I don't know.
Okay, so just so, again, Dave, and I'm sorry, folks, I'm not trying to cut this short, but we are still in the middle of the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Moving on.
as much as I love these conversations, we do have to stay somewhat on track.
All right.
Thanks for showing up.
And we do have poor Tom Coley online, and
Is he doing the disc?
I believe so. So if
Yeah.
I can just use my internet. Too much happening here. All right, so disc golf presentation, Coal Miners Park. I apologize, Tom. It is 10:45, but we have 15 minutes left, so if you would like to
Talk
give
fast.
us your presentation. I did not mean to push you till the very end and have to get distracted, so.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, let
Yes.
me make you presenter so you can share, Tom.
Okay, thank you. So just a quick background. So I'm here representing the Red Lodge Disc Golf User Group. And we have been working with the Parks Board and the Public Works Director for the last couple months to enhance the disc golf facilities down in Coal Miners Park. And at last Tuesday's Parks Board meeting, we presented an enhancement which included an expansion of the course to 18 holes. And it was well received. The Parks Board members in attendance agreed to approve that or recommend approval to the city council. But at the mayor's request, he requested that we attend this meeting and present this proposal to you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can get an idea of what we're talking about with this expansion.
Thanks for pulling up the Montana Cadastral now.
Now we get it.
Okay, so
That's
what
old.
we
That
have
sounds cool.
in place right now is a 12-hole disc golf course. We've been able to work around other facilities in the park very well, including soccer, softball, and the trail system. We believe there's still some space to take advantage of, and the nice thing about disc golf course is that we can kind of leverage some of that unused space in the park. So this current layout is what we're proposing. We went through it hole by hole. I don't intend to do that today because of time constraints, but I guess I just wanted to make you guys aware that we would like to expand the facility. I think we've addressed a lot of concerns and tried to actually move that, were somewhat close to other facilities to avoid any potential conflict. So I have a link here that I can share with you if you'd like to see this online. This is an interactive map. You can zoom in and take a look at specific hole configurations. A lot of them are the same ones. We've just added another 3 to the primary course and alternate holes down by the creek side if possible. So, Mayor, do you have anything else you want to add, or would you like to address any other things that were brought up in the Parks Board meeting?
I think that the part of the conversation will ultimately come to council, going back to something Tom said earlier, he said, we think there's some space, that's not being utilized that can be taken advantage of. But the other thing is disc golf is not necessarily the only group or organization that wants to take advantage of space. So we've been talking about down in the corner, which is just off the bottom of his map, it'll shift in a second, I'm sure. There's a corner where you turn into the high school that they're looking at putting in 4 tennis courts. And so kind of at the root of this discussion is really we have a whole bunch of different activities vying for one space, and ultimately the decision to say, yes, this can be used here, this can be used there, and this, you get this much space that's not currently in use, and you get this much space that's not currently used, is really a council purview. One of the things that they had expressed is they felt like they had already been bumped a little bit when the soccer field went in. It's like, hey, we were using that space and the soccer field came in. And I think that's fair, but I think that was kind of what led, they were saying, we don't always want to be the redheaded stepchild that gets pushed to the side, but we understand that there's other uses that are vying for this space as well. Tom, did I characterize that properly, or anything you want to correct or modify? If you're talking, you're on mute. That means
He's not on mute.
he was, well, we don't know if he's got a button. Oh, he's disconnected.
No, he's
Or
there.
no, he just stopped sharing.
Sorry, no, we were losing audio, so I shut my screen share down. Hopefully that'll improve the connection. Sorry, we're in the process of traveling up to a fire in Helena right now, so.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, thank you for your service. Be safe.
Yeah,
Oh, the gate. Right there, the gate.
so can I answer any questions or anything?
Did you hear my comment, Tom?
I heard a little bit about, being the redhead stepchild, but, yeah, I guess, just to note that, disc golf has been in existence since, the late 90s in this park. And so we were one of the first primary users of it, in addition to softball. And also that we're trying to improve other facilities that would be co-used by other user groups. So, bike racks, garbage stations, dog stations, perhaps, another porta potty, things like that, so.
So, Tom, I would love it if you would share that map,
Mhm.
and that link. I think that's great that you guys put that together. And then if you wouldn't mind, because again, it sounds like there's some proposed holes and some pre-existing holes. If you could maybe clarify which ones are proposed or any changes that might be happening with that proposal, I would just love to know those. And I apologize if I misunderstood that. And then just for a point of clarification for me, because I have not played Frisbee golf up there, was the disc golf, I'm sorry, I'm getting yelled at by the other council members here. But I also am curious with the map, it has number 10 and then the square. I'm assuming that square is your tee box? Your throw box? I don't know what you guys call it. I don't know your terminology.
Yeah, that hole is one that's already in existence. That's, also being proposed for another use.
More so I'm asking, is the number 10 the basket or is the square the basket? I'm assuming the square is where you start and 10 is where you finish. The
That is
number,
correct.
not the actual, not the holes. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yep, the
Cool.
square is the tee box going down to the circle, which is labeled number 10, and that is the basket.
Perfect. That's kind of what I was just so I can have a better understanding. I'm an avid golfer. I'm not big on the disc golf, and it's not because I don't enjoy it. It's just because I'm really bad at it, and I can only be bad at one type of golf and still keep my sanity. So.
But yeah, Chelsea, I can highlight the map. I can show you.
Great.
Yeah, I think that'd be super helpful. And then, yeah, I might do a little bit more homework and actually go try and play around and get a better understanding really what the spatial needs are. And again, I absolutely get the enjoyment of it and have a lot of friends that are super into it, and love to continue to support that, just want to have a better understanding of space, because that is quite literally what we're doing here, so. Okay, anything else on the disc golf presentation? Again, is this up for discussion anytime soon, or is this a?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we don't need to be addressing this evening, but, okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much, Tom. Oh, bye, Tom.
Driving.
On that note, I think we're gonna bypass that growth policy for in terms of review of priorities, projects, and timelines. I think that right now it should sit tight, because Dave does a wonderful job of filling in the schedule for us, as well as the community. On that note, public comment. Rod, how you doing today?
Kind of jealous that you didn't get all of your attention, I had
I
to
know,
share.
I know, sorry.
All right, if that is what we have, just for tonight's meeting, I will be more than happy to present the Pride Park resolution. I will likely present the city land exchange and then defer to Dave. I don't think we will be bringing up disc golf, and then growth policy review will just kind of remind the council of the timelines while we're there. So, just so you guys know what to expect from our side of the world. And I will adjourn.